Welcome to the speaker series on a shot glass of recovery.
Yeah. You get a house, you get a car, then you start thinking that's all you are, but you don't know the truth. So let me spell it out for you. Now I got your attention, now there's a start. Now sit and listen to my favorite part. Life's been giving us some clues. The answer lies inside of you.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and welcome back to a shot glass of recovery. Before we dive into today's episode, a quick reminder to support the show by liking, subscribing, and following us on iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean. You can also support us by leaving a review. It helps us to reach more listeners on their recovery journey. If you'd like to keep the show going, another way to support us is by considering to make a contribution through our PayPal link at paypal.me/a shot glass of recovery. Every dollar makes a difference, and we appreciate your support. On today's show, we're thrilled to feature another incredible speaker from the online home group AA Solution Seekers. This community offers live speakers every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, sharing experience, strength, and hope. Until you can join them live, here's a taste of the wisdom and inspiration they bring to the table.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm an alcoholic. I'm so grateful to be here today, guys. I haven't shared in a big meeting like this. I heard like people came from the US and etc. I'm just stuck in London. Those are the meetings I usually share at. So this is out of my comfort zone. And today's Sunday, and I'm so grateful to wake up this morning and having a sober weekend. Yvonne, thank you so much for asking me. It's really an honor to do service today. I'm meant to be in church with my family. My husband took the kids to church, and I'm so grateful. Like I got the support of saying like, I'm gonna do service today. Please, can you take the kids, to church? But they got Sunday school. That's their service. This is my service. This is what keeps me sober. Um, but I am part of the community as well in church, and I've been sober today. Actually, every 16th of every month, I am 49 months. So I'm 4 years, and 4 years and 1 month, and I am 1,492 days, and I can't count the hours because maths is not my strength. I'm terrible. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm Grace. I'm an alcoholic. I have two home group. My home group is a SIDCAP women meeting, the big book studies on Wednesdays, where we read the big books and share about the big book. Sometimes we have a chair that shares the experience, strength, and hope. And I'm also have another service, and it's called ODATT meeting. ODATT. I could never say the word. I am the secretary, but just for today, meeting online on Friday. My meetings now are online due to family life and work. My life has become so busy. And I also have another meeting on a Monday where I just read the preamble, but there's a really strong message that you usually share. And I like the meeting of all comers. I like to come in and just hear their stories. Yes, I came in 2020 during the pandemic. I'm a Zoom baby, but I got sober in 2021 in January the 16th. But when I first came in, I was broken. I was so skinny. I was powerless over this disease. I got to find out from you guys. You guys taught me that I have a disease that it's only if I get the psychic change that's the only way to live my life. Because before I came in, I was just basically drinking where I didn't understand what was going on with me, and my life was. I have a good life. I am a mother of three children. I am nervous. I'm really, really nervous because I really want to help someone. But so when I came in, I didn't want to accept that I had a disease. I didn't see how I have a problem with drink. Um, but my family helped me to find the rooms. I was in denial when I first came in. I was really like in my own mind, like my disease center in my mind telling me that I don't have a disease because I haven't done the steps yet. And so that's why I went out again in 2020. And but I was born in Uganda. I'm going to talk about my history a bit of my life. I was born in Uganda, and my mom and dad they're separated. My mom left to come to the UK, and I was living with my dad and my stepmom and my two siblings. Um, I got to learn, and I'm hearing people's story. Like always had the disease of not good enough, not feeling like I fit in. Um, but when I was back home, my dad used to drink, and used to be quite a violent man towards my mom, my stepmom. And but he loved me a lot. He really did love me a lot as his first daughter. And but there's always some kind of conflict in the house. And during for me, when I used to have the most, I used to go out with my dad a lot as a child and going to my grandparents where they had a farm. And during the holiday, I had my grandma, where my mom's side of the family that I used to go and visit. So she was like a mother to me that really loved me a lot. Me and my stepmom didn't really get along. I realized I always had a jealousy, started from my early childhood, the defect of jealousy and not feel good enough. But anyway, my grandma, she was everything to me. She passed away, and she also used to keep an eye on me for my mom because my mom moved to the UK. And so when my grandma passed away, my mom found any way to bring me to the UK. So I came when I was 9. My auntie that brought me here, because my mom was not able to see me when I was living with my dad. So my other family member could see me. So my auntie brought me to the UK, and I left my old life and I started a new life. I came to live in the UK, and I thought my mom didn't have any, I thought just her and my younger sister. And I was so jealous that I had all these siblings that, I didn't even know nothing about. There was like 4 of them. I used to have this picture of a fantasy, like this is how my life is going to be. Me and my mom, we live like this, live like that. And when I came in, it was all like really scary because I got all these siblings and we're all sharing rooms together. Back home, there was a big house where um, I had my own room, I had my own life, and now I'm sharing this small cramped house with my siblings. And also, I've never seen a white person when I came to the UK. I had no seen any other person, like even Asians and um, anyone, just Ugandans, and I didn't know any words in English. So when I started school, I got introduced. This is my mom. It was really blurry and really like really weird because this is not the picture I pictured. My mom was really big. She just had a baby. The picture that I had of my mom, she was very small, tiny, me holding me as a baby. So, but I did struggle in my early teenagers, and but I learned English through watching films and we used to listen to Michael Jackson music. I went to primary school in the UK, and I did struggle making friends because I didn't understand half the things they were saying. So my 5 years of primary school was quite weird, but somehow I learned English, and I made friends at the end of my school year. I did struggle in school with my education. I left school without any qualification. So for me, what my mom used to do hair at home, so I learned how to do hair, and I when I left primary school, I went to college. Um, I think in the US they call it high school. I don't know, high school. I was in high school and I left to go college. Yeah. So I went to college, and this is where my life just started a bit. And also before I left home, no, before in my teenage, I used to get a lot of in trouble with my mom because I had friends where they stay out late, and I wanted to follow them. I wasn't able to follow the rules, but sometime I did, sometime I didn't. So I used to butt head with my mom a lot. So at the time when I was 16, I went college and I did hairdressing, and I did hairdressing because of I didn't have a lot of confidence with my reading and writing, so that was easier for me to do as a job. And so I met friends during college, a bit older than me, and I remember going out, and this is when my first drink started. I remember going out, and one of my friends, she had a boyfriend, and I went to follow her, and went to her boyfriend's house, and he was a grown man. When I look back, and I was putting myself in a situation, went to his house, and he had drinks, and they went in another room, and I just took that drink. That was my first experience with alcohol. When I took that first drink, there was some kind of ease that I had, like it was some. I felt really calm. I was like I don't know. In the book says how that feels. I can't find the words in my head, but it felt really good, like to have that first drink, and I felt really at ease and relaxed. And then I drank a lot of it, and I was in blackout, and my friend brought me home. I don't know how I got home, but I remember the somehow I woke up and my mom was screaming, shouting. My friend never been at my house during that time, but somehow she found a way to come home. They called the ambulance, and everything was blurry, and I got in really big trouble. There was no drinking in my household, in my mom's house, in my parents' house in the UK. They were Muslim, so no drinks. But my mom was really worried, and because the way I came back and I was in the States, and that oh, I didn't drink during that time again, but there was some thought of me, like I was looking for that thing again. I was looking for it, and my life during the college time to up to 17, it was where I was going out a lot, like, because all the kids going out, I started going out a lot where I'm sneaking out middle of the night, and my drinking then kicked off. And yeah, going out a lot, like going to parties, house parties. And I met a guy who was much older than me. I was 17. And when I look back now, he was probably like 28, and I'm like 17 years old, and he had his own house. And I was looking for freedom, you know. I used to smoke weed, because I always needed something to make me feel good, something to take away like um, how I felt, and I got to find out I'd always had the disease of wanting more, or um, just not good enough, or emotion, drinking over my emotions. So yes, I had this guy that I was dating, and I decided, like, I told him, like, because I used to get in trouble a lot over my parents, and I said to him, I can't move, I need to move in with you, otherwise I'm gonna die. And I did have the suicidal thoughts, and in my 17, a lot happened during that age. I had the suicidal thoughts and I felt, and I was really like, feel like I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. And I thought that he's gonna make me feel better if I'm moving with him. And in my household, because there was so many of us in our siblings, I always wanted to have my own TV, my own room, my own space. So I said to him, I'm going to move in with him, and I moved in with him. I just packed my clothes, told my parents I'm going to move out, and this time I've only been in the UK for 7 years. So when I look back now, it was the biggest mistake I've done, but we can't regret the past and wish to shut the door on it. But I moved in with this guy, and I was living with him. I had a job. I finished my level 2 in hairdressing, and I was working as junior stylist, and I was getting cash in hand, and I was helping out to pay the rent with him. And he cheated on me. He had a girlfriend, and I felt really, really betrayed. I was so broken, and I forgave him. And then after forgiving him, long before then, he done it again. And I think I was like 18, 19, and I felt like I loved him. I really felt like I loved him, because I was looking for something to love me, you know. And so what happened is that I finally broke up with him, and then I started to rent out a room by myself, moved out, got my own place, and I had a lot of cousins that I started having parties. I have my own space. I'm 19, 20, going out. I can do whatever I want. I was going to West End. West End is like in London where you can go out, and I used to go carnival, and I can do whatever I want. I can drink how I want to drink. And with him, I used to hide my drink with my boyfriend. But now I can drink the way I want. I always kept a job because my biggest fear for me was to move back home. And it was a shame for me to move out. And I had a stepdad and my mom and everybody. So I didn't want to move back home. So I made sure I paid my rent. So wherever I was going, I made sure I paid my rent. So that carried on for a while. And after a while, I met my husband. I am with now. I was 21. I met him, and during that time, life was full of parties, and I was drinking, and I used to have these blackouts, and I used to think people were sparking my drink when I used to go out with cousins, and because I was in a safe place where we always protect each other, so I didn't think of anything like there's something wrong with me with my drinking. I just thought I'm just a teenager, just having fun. And the other thing I remember as well that I got to learn in the room is that I used to drink way before I went out. My drink would start from the morning, and I needed that drink before I go to work. I needed a zip or something, just to calm my nerves down or to whatever it is. I just needed it. So that was my cope of coping, and but then I'll function during the day. I go to work, come back, pay my rent, and etc. So when I met my husband, we dated for a while. For within 3 months, we moved in together quite quick. There's something about him that attracted me to him. He was a kind of guy that was quite protective over me, and he showed me love. He showed me a lot of love. But when I moved in with him, he got too clock about my drinking. He got. I remember he said to me, Grace, I think you have a drinking problem. We used to go out. I remember he used to wait for me at my job. I used to work in Harrods, and he used to wait for me, and then we go out in the evening, but I'll have more than him, and he didn't understand that why I wanted more than I can cope. But he'll have like 2 drinks and he'll leave it. But for me, and I'll come home and I'll be like, I can't remember what happened, but we'll take a bus together, and stuff like that. But there was one time where things got really worse, and my work was not going well in a way like I'll stay home because I'm lying like I got food poison, and the night before where I was not functioning properly, where I needed a lot more, like the phenomenal craving talks about the book. But then it progressed, it progressed more than it was before, where I could function, and I'll have a drink, and I went in more and more, and I can't go to work. And he had a job where he's never missed a day off. He always responsible to go to work. When me, I'm tired, and I had all these excuses. And I remember my resentment was, I used to tell him, like, I'm drinking because my mom left me when I was a child. My best friend left me when I was in school. And I had all these emotions I could not cope. And I was just drinking on it. And I made him feel sorry for me. And he would say to me, Grace, you need to stop drinking. This is getting out of hand. There was one time where he went to work and I was drinking and smoking cigarette. And he came back home and the house was full of smoke. And he left. He managed to climb through the window and open the door and got out then, because we were living like in a studio, and got out and got so many people out and told him to get out. And the fire brigade came, and he took the cab, and everything was fine. He left me there, took the cab, and this guy said to him that he told the guy what happened, the cab driver, and he said to him, you need to go back and save her and help her. There's something like you need to help this girl. She needs your help. So my husband returned back, and when I got up, I was in blackout when this happened. The whole bed cover was full of smoke, and I was basically like up, like, oh. And I remember I promised I'll never do this again. I'm not gonna drink again. And it also, I think in the Bill story, it talks about that where he went out, and he can't remember how it started, and and he was remorseful, and he was able to say, I'm not going to do this again. So I didn't do it again, but I was sneaking around a bit more. I was more like controlling, like I don't want him to know, and I'll just drink a little bit, and I have all these chewing gum, and I was going to work, everything was okay. And I remember one time I had these thoughts on my mind telling me that great, like I used to have these voices telling me like, if I get pregnant, maybe this will work. And this time I was like 23, and a thought came to mind: if I get pregnant, if I have a baby, and etc., that would help. And I got pregnant. Life, I didn't drink through my pregnancy. Life was good, and I was really happy, and I really did not drink. And after my daughter started school, not school, primary school, it's like a no nursery. She started nursery, and things was going really well. Haven't had a drink. I was listening to this guy called Joey Austin, going to church. Things were going well. I used to pray. And I had selfish prayers. I got to learn about my selfish prayers. Now my prayer is more about God, help me to be useful. Help me to be useful. This time I'll be praying. About I want this. I want a new car. I want a new house. I want this. I want that. But yeah, I went out with these mothers in school and in the preschool for a picnic, and there was alcohol, and I completely forgot. And I took a beer. I took a beer. It's called Beck's. I took that beer, and I remember coming back. My daughter was like two or three, coming back, and that all bets were off. I was driving, and I remember stopping at off-license shops, and I went to buy like 10 beer. And when I tell you, like, I remember like parking my car, and I was just drinking that beer, and I was like, my daughter was in the back seat, and my obsession of the drink came back, and and I was just drinking. I started hiding it more and more, and I became really skinny because I was like size 22 UK size. I was really big, and I just dropped size down. I was size 8, and I was very skinny, and I was just drinking, hiding it. And my marriage, I got married during that time. Before that, and I got really drunk most of the time, and I would leave my daughter. When my husband and I started having really, really problems in our marriage, where I was just fighting a lot because I became quite aggressive and violent, and he didn't want to be at home most of the time, goes out to his friend's house. So I had so many resentments, and I feel like my life was going really, really worse. And that thought of maybe because I had done it before, maybe if I get pregnant again, that would help. This was my solution of stopping drinking. And then I got pregnant again, and then I had twin boys, and I didn't drink again. But with my twin boys, a year later, my progressive was worse. And I didn't drink during my pregnancy, and it got really worse where I was just needed it, and I didn't want to breastfeed. I needed them to be on formula milk where I couldn't drink as well, and my husband and I were just basically just co-parenting in the house. I didn't care, and I had this for like in case he leaves me, let me get pregnant so that way I have children with the same father. So basically, I trapped him. And I got to do that in my step 4, like how selfish I was, how the selfish of my disease was. And my I was just basically just looking after my kids, and he was there. He stepped up, and he's there, but he's out all the time. And I'm just at home with the kids. And sometime I got my parents, and me and my mom got together as well during that time of my pregnancy and my kids. So she was involved in my life with my kids. And I remember dropping them off to my parents' house, and I drink, and I'll say to mom, I need help. Can you help my kids? But that helped me. And I wanted freedom. I wanted to get away from my kids, so I couldn't have a drink. I come home, and I was drinking and driving, and I'll stop at different shops. I will basically, my life was just getting worse in a way. Like this disease was basically progressive. It was basically taking over my life where it I got to learn I'm powerless over people, places, and things where my husband was doing things as well, and I'll have all these resentment. I'll drink on it. So it was my solution. Drink was my high power. Drink was I needed a drink on everything. Like there was a time, and then when my kids were growing, when they started school, this is where I went back and I was like, they're 4 years old. They started primary school, and I will plan it because I was scared of having social service in my life. I was terrified. And during that time, going to school, my mom doesn't really know about my drinking, but my husband started mentioning it to them that Grace has a drinking problem. And my parents came over and they said, like, Grace, what's going on? Why are you drinking like this? Do you want to go to rehab? And I said, no, I don't want to go to rehab. Maybe call the doctors and find out if they can help you. I was terrified to tell anyone how much I drank. I was terrified to say, like, I couldn't stop drinking if I had the first drink. The only place I was able to accept to talk about my drinking is you guys. You accepted me and got to find out that there's many people like me. I used to feel alone. So I remember calling the doctor and they'll say to me, like, a 1 to 10, how much do you drink? I'll say 1. I'm not gonna say the truth because and they'll say at night time, how many do you drink? I'll say 2, like 1 or 2. Because I felt like if I was telling the truth, they're gonna take my kids. I couldn't tell them like I'm just drinking like, 12, 20, 30, like I'm blackout. And that was going on for a while, like where at night time I will basically leave my kids, as I said, and going to off if I ran out of drinks, I put them to bed, and 12 midnight I'm walking, going to shops, 20-minute walk, buying those drinks. I want 20 kind of drinks, 20 kind of beers. My husband works nights, by the way. And then when I in early morning, I'm like up like this, and I'll just wash my face and take the kids to school, come back. And yeah, so my that was carrying on for a while where I was controlling it. I'm not controlling it. I'm just going in and out. And there was there was a phrase that I was reading in Doctor's Opinion. Um, hold on, hold on a second. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, where did I put it? Yes, there was the Doctor's Opinion on XXS. There is a type of a man who is willing to admit that he cannot control his drink. He planned various way. He changes his brand of environment. There is a type who always believe that after for what being entirely free from alcohol for a period of time, he can take it without any danger. And that was me. There was time when I could stop, and then I'm going back because that's why I love the room saying keep coming back. I need to be reminded. There was a time when I stopped drinking for 2 years, and then I'm come back to it. There was a time I was 1 year, and I'm coming back to it. There was a time where I can just plan that I'm going to drink Monday to Friday. Friday, all bets are off because the kids are not in school. Then I drink. There was a time where I went to uni as well. I did early childhood. I was drinking in between my studies. I did pass my degree. There's a time where I thought like if I get married and have children, I stop. I'll go back to it. So I was given all these blessings, but when I'm entirely free or somehow this thoughts on my mind, I got to find out in the room that my disease is centers in my mind that if I'm not drinking, I'm thinking about it. I'm planning various way to when to drink, how to drink, where to drink. So my mind will be telling me stuff that's not real. And so my drinking was my high power. And with that, so the end of my drinking, my disease got so progressive in the way like the suicidal thoughts came back from when I was 17 to 30, came back so progressive in a way like it was during the pandemic. I was homeschooling my kids, and I went. Well, I wanted to die. I wanted to die. I felt the powerlessness over this disease. I was told I have a disease, a chronic. I am a chronic alcoholic. Um, in a way, like I put life insurance. I put drinks before my children, and this is where my husband was really, really frightened and told my parents that Grace have a drinking problem. And I set up life insurance. As I said, I was so like my husband also and I were just really in bad place. And my sister found AA, and she said one of her friend from that she known attended this program that helped him to stop drinking, and this is the details. So she sent it to me. I looked at it and I was like, ah, they're not gonna understand. And before then, actually, I went counseling. I was doing counseling session, and I never told them about my drinking. I was talking about my resentments. I got to find out I had resentments. And I was telling them about the story of my parents, my husband, that's going on in my marriage. As soon as I left that, I would drink again. So I was like, well, nothing else gonna work. And I remember I used to go to church, and then I would cut, and I was basically a saint. I was basically like a sweet girl, but in behind, I was just the devil got to me. I was doomed. I'm just living like a zombie. I was functioning. And so then what happened is that for some reason, I don't know what happened, my sister, I got drunk. So my daughter, there's one day, I got so drunk I was blackout, and my daughter jumped out through the window because she thought I was dead and trying to get help. And somehow she phoned my sister. She couldn't open the door, so she jumped out to open the door and she broke her leg. Then my younger sister came to my house, and I was ashamed. They called the ambulance, and my sister said that how she dropped down the stairs. That was a lie. And my sister, then my parents, everyone begged me to go to AA. I went to, I think a week later, I took my daughter to, and I had to tell this a lie that yeah, she dropped down the stairs. She was playing with her brother. This is how she broke her leg. No, she broke her leg because she was trying to get help. She found her mom in black intoxicated where I was gone, and I woke up and nothing has happened. And then what happened is that I went to AA. My sister took me to AA, and I came in AA in a way like I was I dressed up like I was better than you guys, you know. And I remember sitting in that first room, and I see the word God and all these stuff like step one, step two, and etc. Like, and everyone looked well, and I also have an uncle that's an alcohol that I believe is an alcoholic. Everyone knows he's an alcoholic, and I was like thinking, well, I don't think I'm one of them. And I was just thinking to myself, well, I got a family, I got children, and etc. And what happened is like I didn't get the first message, but you guys took my number. You took my number. And I love the way, like, if you see a newcomer, take their numbers because, and that's what I'm doing now. You took my number and you phoned me, and I was in denial. I was in delusion. I was like, I'm okay. I did stop drinking for a bit. It was in October. I think I came in August. Coming to my birthday in November, started drinking again. Then I stopped. Then I go back. Then somehow during the Christmas period, I never used to drink. During New Year's time, I drink. But that New Year of 2021, some reason, I drank for 3 weeks non-stop. I was having an episode of picking up my kids from school where I'm drunk. The school was getting really paranoid. The school really found out, and my husband would tell a story that my grandma died. That's why I'm acting like this. And then what happened is like this guy that used to phone me, he used to phone me occasionally to see how I'm doing. The phone calls, how you doing? Are you okay? Are you coming back? And I'll be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. For some reason, I phoned that guy on the 16th of January, and I said to him, I need help because I was sick and tired, sick and tired. I I was sick and tired. I was sick and tired. And he said, okay, put that drink down and come in the meeting the next day. So that was the 16th of January, 2021. And I sat in the meeting and I was able to listen. I got to find, and then he said to me, okay, Grace, I'm gonna temporary sponsor you. And I said, please help me. Please help me. That's the phone call I did. I said, please help me. And he said, okay, no problem, Grace. Just he gave me these simple tools that outline in the book. And he said to me, phone me every day at this time. You're gonna come to a meeting on Saturday, you'll be doing the greeting. And I need you to write down your gratitude at midnight and night time before you go to bed. And write about everything you're grateful for. I couldn't find my gratitude. So he started off with a simple thing, thank your higher power, sober day and sober night. Thanking your higher power that you have a roof over your head. I'd never seen these things before. So I turned and I just listened, thanking your higher power that you got clean clothes or water or whatever. And that's all I needed to do. And then and he said to me, read just for today cards and read 2 pages from the big book. And that's what I did. And then he said to me, and I remember and then he came to one day, then I'm not drinking, came to 2 days, 3 days, and then I was phoning my sponsor every day, and came to 1 week, come to that Saturday, and I was amazed, like I'm not thinking about this, I'm not thinking about the drink. And then I started my step 1. It says that we admitted that we're powerless over alcohol, that our life had become manageable. Yes, my life was manageable because alcohol was my solution. Alcohol was my high power. Alcohol was everything to me. That I needed it over my emotions. I was drinking over everything. That I was basically drinking over people, places, and things. And I was putting myself in sanity of drinking and driving. I was doing a lot of stuff. I got to see that in step 1 because there was some reading where we go through and reflect on how does that relate to me. So I got to find that out, and I was hopeless, and I got to find out I'm a sick person, and the only way to go over this is to get the psychic change. It talks about in the doctor's opinion. And then he took me through step 2. I think, let me see, step 2, 60, hold on, and how it works. Step 2, 58. Came to believe that there's a power greater. Came to believe that their power greater than ourselves could restore us with sanity. I was insane. I was really insane because I got to look at how my drinking was and how I put myself and my kids in problems. And also, and I needed to find a power greater than myself. And that was through doctor's opinion. I needed to listen and I needed to pray. You guys were my high power when I came in. The group of drunks, God, and I was praying through you guys. Please, in high power, help me to get through this day. And my obsession was lifted. For some reason, my obsession was lifted. I wasn't thinking about drinking, and my sponsor always said to me to phone newcomers and finding out how they're doing. And that took me out of self. That took me out of self of thinking about myself. And whenever like I'll phone someone, I'll be like, how are you doing? How was your day? And then my best steps is step 3, handing over my will over to the care of God and my own understanding. I went to church with my sponsor. We did the step 3 prayers, and it was handing over my will of people, places, and things. And whenever I had a resentment, and this time around, it'd be like, phone someone, find out how they're doing, and then I'll get out self, and then I became useful to God's will. Now I'm God's instrument. So now that's what He was teaching me through these spiritual tools. My best step was step 4. Step 4, I got to find out about my disease. Step 4 talks about made a searching, fearless, moral inventory of myself. That was my step 4. And I was able to write down every single person in my life from 0 to 35 when I came in recovery. I'm 40 years old now. And that was my parents, my mom, my husband, my jobs, my primary school. And I done it like 0 to 5, 5 to 10. And I got to find out like I was suffering. I was really suffering. I came in full of baggage of suitcase, and all these resentment was killing me. I had so much fear. And I got to realize the selfishness of my disease. I was selfish, I was self-centered, I was intolerant, and this was making me drink. These defects of character was making me drink. And now, and I was able to do my step 6 and 7, and 7 is handing over to the care of God. My God, please, my creator, I'm now willing that you shall have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single default character. I do that every day. Some default character have lifted. And I am more at peace now with step 7, because that's what I need to hand over. But I needed to do step 4 and step 6 and 5 and 6, and I was able to share with my sponsor and telling them that this is what my biggest secret was, able to share with my step 5, admitting to God and to ourselves, to another human being, is that nature of our wrong. I was able to tell my sponsor, and he was able to listen. He used to say to me, "I did that, I've done that, I did that," and I got to be honest with myself. I was so dishonest before I came in. And he set me free. I was set free, and now like I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I've got friends in recovery where I can be like, and step 4 is non-finishing business, because there's some things that pops up that I've got a safe place where I share with some women in the fellowship and my sponsor, and to deal with men that I slept with or situation I've done, and they'll be like, "Oh, don't worry, just write it out," and sharing with another human being. That's what I do sometimes. But apart from that, I got a safe place to do that. Before, I was drinking on these resentments. And my best step that got me really armed and became willing to make amend to them all. I made amend to my mother. I put my mother into misery. When I told my mom, when I made my amend to my mom said to me, "Grace, whatever you're doing, keep doing it." Me and my mom have a great relationship now. She was my enemy. I thought she was the problem. I thought everyone else was the problem. And I'm her biggest fan right now, but to me, it is one day at a time. Most of my men are living in men. My other man was my husband. When I came in, I thought he was the problem. I blame everybody else that they were the problems. And so I made those amends, and my children, I've been in recovery for 4 years, and I got to learn, I think page 417, acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. If my husband does anything, during my first year to all the way now, I look at him as a newcomer. I pray for him. I do the St. Francis prayer, and I say, "God, please help me how to be useful to my husband. Help me how to be useful at work." I get resentment now and then at work in my normal life. And even, my kids, it's life, but it's not as bad as it used to be. And then I'll do the opposite of my default character. And I listen to him because I got to listen to newcomers, I love newcomers because I get to listen to them. I don't get to talk much. So he teaches me how to listen to my husband in my marriage. And half the time he comes home and talks to me, I'm listening. I'm actually listening how he's doing. And I can't say we have a peaceful marriage today, and over the weekend I was writing down I write my gratitude until now. I still do the same suggestion. So God, thank you that to have a peaceful weekend without any argument. Thank you to have a peaceful marriage. Thank you that I can wake up not stinking of alcohol. Thank you today to be a part of a fellowship. Thank you for allowing me to be of service today. Thank you that can be useful today. And every day I wake up in the morning and say, "God, help me to be useful to help another suffering alcoholic." Help me to be useful to my children. Help me to be useful to my work. Help me to be useful in my church. And then I have a good day, you know. And when I'm disturbed, you know, because I haven't accepted something. And then what I need to do, I need to go back to step one because I don't want to go back there. I don't want to. I don't want to. That's why I keep coming back. And it could be at work, resentments. You know, it pops up. It can be jealousy, defect character that I have not even thought about. And I need to share with you guys. You guys give me the room to share where I am. And I get to learn. And I'll be like, oh, it's intolerance. And I'll be like, oh, I'm angry. And then some people are unwell. I've got to realize in recovery that some people are unwell and I need to forgive them. And I don't take things personally anymore. And sometimes I do. I do take things personally. But before I used to share with wrong people, but I share with you guys, and you tell me, no, Grace, just help somebody else. Write your gratitude again. Then I'll forget about it. Today, and then also I got to learn half measure failed us nothing. That was in how it worked. Because I tried the half measure because I haven't lost anything yet. Someone said to me, the not yet hasn't happened. And that is my biggest fear. You know, I don't want to go to prison. I am because I'll be in prison and I'll be dead. So today, I am a mom. I'm still a mom. I'm a wife. I have a fellowship. The only way for me to keep sober is basically turning my will over to the care of my own understanding, which is God, God, and praying for sober day and a sober night. And also, sorry, I take, as I said, step 10, continue to take personal inventory. I do that every day. If I do have a resentment, and I do sponsor, I'm not sponsoring someone at the moment, but I am able to sponsor. So if you are new, please keep coming back. It works if you work it, and just get a sponsor and just listen.
Everything you do, the answer lies inside you.